Welcome back, garden gnomes. Here in just a second we're going to take a quick tour of the garden and see how everything is doing. If you guys are on our Patreon, then you saw us hilling the potatoes yesterday. Got a few more things to check in on, and I actually have some things to plant. I know it's a little bit late in the season as we are rapidly approaching the longest day of the year. Kind of hard to believe, makes my head spin. But my neighbor over the back fence actually just gave me some pepper and tomato babies that are dry as a bone and desperately need to come out of their cups. I've got a half dozen of these guys, but luckily because I fell so far behind this year, I actually have room for them. It is late to be starting them in the ground, but we can't just leave them in these little cups. So you guys remember I planted a row of peppers right here. I'm gonna stick these guys right in front of those and hope for the best. Maybe we'll get some crossbreeding next year. As you can see behind me, my romaine has gone absolutely insane, but I kind of want to see what happens when it goes to seed, much like my carrots that we'll look at here in a second. I've never seen carrots go to seed before, and it's really cool. My mom's lemon balm that she snuck in here is going crazy, and I am actually going to leave this lemon balm, not because I'm trying to ignore my neighbor's dog barking, but because it'll winter over beautifully, and it kind of gives me something to pay attention to out here when nothing else is growing. One of the other issues that we are having is bacterial wilt in our cucumbers. And unfortunately for me, this will keep getting worse until it takes out the entire plant. I have gotten several good cucumbers off of it, and I have several more to pick. The only truly organic way to deal with bacterial wilt would be to find any cucumber beetles which transport the bacterium, remove them from the plant, remove all affected parts of the plant, and then hope for the best. Luckily, cucumbers are really fast growing, and the cucumber beetle mostly operates in the early part of the season, so even though we're about halfway through June now, I can restart my cucumbers and have a perfectly healthy crop for the rest of the season. You can also practice this with squash and zucchini to avoid the squash vine borer. I lost my entire crop a couple of years ago because I planted too early. The flying insect that lays the larvae that becomes the squash vine borer is a little bit like the cucumber beetle in the fact that it operates mainly in the early part of the growing season. So when it hits about mid-June or so, you can start yourself some more squash and zucchini, and you can outsmart that bug altogether. The strawberries are about done for the season, but the plants themselves did very, very well. My turnips are actually growing. When you guys saw these in the last video, I wasn't really sure if they were weeds or not. These are snowball turnips. They're getting very, very little light. Oh, hi, buddy. Oh my goodness. Hello. You want to be friends? No? Okay. Our corn completely failed this year. I did plant twice actually, and neither time did even a single piece of corn come up. So it could have been what I was planting. It was a ruby red variety. I'll see if I can find the package and put the information on the screen. We do, however, have 2 mounds growing cantaloupe, which frankly I'm getting a little concerned about these guys because they're so shrimpy. I think they're not getting enough light back here, but they are just starting to put off their first tendrils, and I'm really hoping that I can train them all the way to this fence and then kind of move along it. The swamp milkweed is doing good, but not nearly enough of it came up for how many monarchs we wanted to raise this year, so we are still going to do the butterflies. We're just not going to do nearly as many. Tomatoes! And the 5 out of 200 beets that I planted. Here in another month or so, I'm going to start replanting these guys, kind of fill up some of this area right here. But yeah, as y'all can see, it's been a really mellow year garden-wise. Ooh, sunflower trying to block my path here. And moving over from that bed, we have our carrots. Now, if these flowers look familiar to you, you're probably thinking of Queen Anne's lace, and that is actually a wild carrot. So next time you see one, get to digging. Oh, these poor babies. These are so dry. Gosh. I really should have watered these before sticking them in the ground, but I'm going to put the sprinkler in here tonight since everything is really dry. That's part of the reason, if you guys saw the Patreon video, that my potatoes are starting to wilt over and get a little bit leggy. They haven't gotten near enough water. You guys will be a-okay by tomorrow, though, don't you worry. Whew. Tell y'all the mosquitoes are bad. These babies should have been out of these cups weeks ago. we've got sweet and hot banana peppers, and now we've got sweet bell peppers. Where am I gonna put you guys? Can't put them anywhere that I've ever grown potatoes or planned to grow potatoes, so they can't go in this bed or this bed. That'll work. All my flowers from this pot were just annuals, so it's just sitting here growing weeds. If you guys are wondering about the blanket, I'm highly allergic to grass, and I don't know if you can see it, but I'm just now recovering from a really bad allergic reaction that came up on my jaw, neck, face, like all that whole area. Had to go get a shot in the butt and everything. Goodness. Look at all that. A little bit of peat moss under there. Let go. Hey, mine. Go over there. You too. Stop grabbing my tomato plant. I don't even know what kind of tomatoes these are, guys. I guess I could have asked her, but she was giving me free plants. Like I'm not picky. All right, now we're gonna take all that compostable root matter that we dug out. Alright guys, I think that's it for today. I'm gonna pinch off this last little water leaf, it's looking kind of yellow. Yeah, we don't need him in there. I'm gonna grab the hose, water everything that we just planted, and then I'll turn the sprinkler on in here and leave it for a few hours. Should be good to go. Sorry guys, sorry, one more thing. I totally forgot that I had this basil. It was hiding in the garage. Tomatoes and basil make fantastic companions when it comes to pests. Okay, you know what? I planted you, I can take you out of here. That's enough.